All right, we're back. Judd'z Budz, episode 131. Wayne Gretzky plus Philip Gustafson episode. As always, your host, Spokesy, joined by my good buddy, Mr. at State of Hoppy. Hoppy, how we doing on this fine Monday?
We're doing all right, aside from your mistake in calling it the Gustafson episode when it's definitely the Gretzky plus Staylock episode.
I was wondering if you're going to go to Staylock there. Yep, there it is.
Immediately.
Should have known. I'll be honest, I was halfway out of my mouth, and I was like, he's going to go Staylock here.
But that's one that we've got to pull for one of the podcasts. Get Staylock on for an interview just to talk about everything going on in San Jose now that he's going back there to do commentary.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun. Maybe he'll get us the inside scoop on what the bunking situation is, like who's top bunk, who's bottom bunk with Jumbo and Celebrini.
He's like, no, we just have like multiple bunks. I'm also living there. I am on the bottom bunk. I'm middle bunk, actually.
No, first interview that they do, like once the season starts, they go over to him for interview. Full ass man beard.
He's like, where'd that come from? I don't know. Joe told me. I didn't have a choice. I didn't know you could grow one. Hockey's happening. Like a lot of hockey's happening again.
We love that.
And I like it. And the biggest hockey news possibly in the past few years, one of the best defensemen to ever lace him up in the National Hockey League, noted great guy, great locker room guy, Tony DeAngelo is off to the KHL. How devastated are you for the league? How many fucking locker rooms do you think are popping champagne right now?
I don't know, dude. If you go off of Frank Saravelli's intel, this is a major loss for the NHL. Just such a high character individual. I know a lot of people were hoping to have him be part of their locker room. Per everyone that Saravelli spoke with, being, I imagine, DeAngelo's agent, maybe DeAngelo himself. I'm not even sure DeAngelo believes that he's a valued member in a locker room. I think he just knows he's a good hockey player.
Yeah. But again, everyone was always wrong about the whole him being a problem in the locker room, as evidenced by the fact that he's going over to the KHL, despite being able to still play hockey at a decently high level.
He's good, but that's one piece of a rather large, complicated puzzle.
Remember he started a podcast, Watch Your Tone? I just remembered that.
That's right. Who was that with, though?
It was like his brother. It was like, oh, God. I never want to know what conversation. Actually, his dad told us about the conversations they used to have in their fucking house. Don't want that in the podcast.
No, we won't talk about that.
You'll be shocked to learn that I never listened to an episode. But yeah, real massive loss for the NHL. Good for fucking Russia or whatever. And that's it. That's all we had today. Nothing else. Just wanted to break that news that broke a while ago. So we're breaking it again. But where do we want to go next? We'll go right into preseason hockey.
Sure.
Because I haven't slept since, well, I mean, that's normal. But since Carter Yakimchuk already has the Toronto Maple Leafs Twitter replies to their own team in absolute uproar. The second he scored that goal in OT, in which the better angle of the goal, like the better replay angle, is from behind the net, because Matthews is straight leg, like telling someone to do a change, as Yakimchuk's not even flying up the ice. Like, he's by himself. And he still has Jake McCabe and Mitch Marner to beat. And Matthews is gliding to the bench. Yakimchuk has no senator with him. Just dekes McCabe out of his skates, and then immediately establishes contact with Marner and Tux in overtime to win it. And I was like, I'm going to wait 2 minutes and just go look at Toronto Maple Leafs Twitter account to see like how many replies is this gonna have within 5 minutes. There were a couple hundred within 2.5 minutes. One of them was like, I don't know why. Actually, yes, I do know why. I kind of love this. It's just like, oh my God, they already hate themselves. This is incredible. But that fucking goal, first of all, it was nasty. But the fact that it was literally the three Leafs on the ice were Matthews, McCabe, and Marner. I was like, this is unbelievable. It's so great. The fact that it took one preseason game to have everyone saying, oh, they're already in postseason mode. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. It was one of those ones, too, because you're right. He was not moving fast. And it's like all of a sudden he was just kind of gliding and he like had just this little giddy up. Like he didn't even start cruising. He just
one head fake
a little bit. And it's like straight to Super Troopers where he's like, it's the fastest kid alive. We're ready for it. Turn on the burners. And they're just like kind of sitting there watching him go by. And it's like, oh shit, we just let that happen. This is going to be a problem.
It was literally one head fake and like hip rotation, and McCabe was on another planet. Like he literally was in a different zip code, like with one head fake. And Marner was like, "Oh God damn it!"
He looked like Klingberg, dude. Straight Klingberg action.
Oh my God, it was so funny. We're off to just an incredible start, and I love it. I
never recovered since the empty netter.
Oh, it's so good. But yeah, so shout out Ottawa. Yakubchuk, by the way, apparently has just been an absolute machine this preseason. And like some of my buddies who are Senators fans, like, this kid might make the fucking team out of camp. I don't think he will, but I mean, who knows? And imagine if that was the play that solidified his spot, I'd be like,
that would be great. Yes. They've already announced that he's made the team. No, he's like, yeah. Let's be real though. If I was him and people were shitting so heavily on Ottawa for drafting him where they did, I'd be going crazy this summer too and coming in hot. Yeah. Yeah. And again, that's like that pick is the classic case of like, man, you get falling in love with that profile of player and the upside of what he can do as a defenseman. How many goals did he score? A right shot defenseman. He scored 30 goals in WHL last season, and he had like 125 penalty minutes. And it was just like, man, you totally see the upside in a player like that because he can do so many things that like defenseman his size and just like overall build can't do. But there's obviously still, as a 17-year-old defenseman, there's always going to be those things you worry about like on the other side. But that's always going to be the pick that that player always gets drafted super high, and it's like this is either going to be awesome or it's just going to be. I don't think he's going to be a player that will be like, how the fuck did he get drafted in top 10? But it might be like that was okay. It didn't work out as well as maybe they were hoping. It was 7th overall. 7.
But I mean, I feel like if you're the Ottawa Senators Twitter account, the second that goes in, you just have to tweet out like, and he just made the fucking team. That's it. He's on the team now. He's gonna have an A. He's gonna be rocking an A just for when they play Toronto. He's the captain. Brady's gonna be like, here, you take this for this game. You just throw that on. It's great. But I just love it. It literally took 2 hours of hockey to be happening again for the Toronto Maple Leafs fan base and their Twitters to just go all the way off, and I'm always here for it. If I'm having a bad day, all I need to do is just watch something happen to the Leafs and read through other people's reactions, and it's great because it's the gift that keeps on giving. Again, as we said during the playoffs, the Toronto Maple Leafs are literally the only hockey team that the whole NHL is like, well, I guess we're rooting for Boston. I guess so. if we have to, because it's way funnier when the Leafs lose. Still hate the Bruins, but they're playing the Leafs. What am I supposed? My hands are tied here. My hands are tied, and they lose in the funniest way possible, and it's carried over the preseason. It's great. I'm all about it.
It is awesome. The one bummer here is, of course, this happens and is already being discussed where Kalen Addison has his PTO.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm already going to chalk that one up to a loss. Bummer.
Mm-hmm. It's okay. That's all right. And just so everyone knows, Hoppy on our outline named Carter Yakimchuk Yakum Walk. Really good stuff. Really. Just needed everyone to know that that's on the outline.
Really needed the leash, Sally.
Yeah, he did. Like, as my tweet said, he really just took them on a stroll through the dog park. And it would have been funny if his celly was just like yanking on the leash, like tightening it up a little bit. I was going between that and like rub their bellies, because Marner would have been like, yeah, thank you, if he rubbed his belly after scoring that goal. Let's just talk about the Leafs for like an hour. Let's just do that. No. How
can we make this show about the Leafs?
Let's see. Well, actually, the one last thing is Pacioretty. He scored in that game as well. So that'll be like, I guess Friedman said that's pretty much done. I don't even know if they've made it official yet, but he'll be the Toronto Maple Leaf. That's an interesting.
Dude, he's gonna have 6 or 7 incredible games, and then he's gonna be done for the year. Like, that's just
or he's gonna have like 6 or 7 games and like 5 goals. That's the stat line. That's the whole stat line. I hope that guy can stay healthy though, because like it's just been so like the most ridiculously unlucky major injuries at that point in his career too. But like the last couple of years, he's been able to stay healthy for like maybe 10 games, and he'll still score like 6 or 7. You're like, Jesus Christ, like this is unbelievable. Yeah, he did score twice. Yeah,
man. Macklin Celebrini's decent at the hockey, supposedly.
Yeah, I was gonna say we should just keep it with the preseason games. They did lose. The Sharks did to Vegas in that game, but I mean, that the Sharks, again, we said this before, they're going to be a fascinating team to watch because they did bring in some NHL guys. They've got some young studs coming through, including in net. They've got Askarov who's going to be there. They're just like, I have no idea. Like, imagine if it just like works incredibly well. That would be cool. But like, either way, that power play is going to be must watch TV, because they could go 0-82. They might still have like a 37% power play. Like, they're the best power play in the league, but they're like 47th on the PK, you know?
Who's quarterbacking that thing?
Well, in preseason it was Cagnoni, but I mean, is Wallman? Who else is back there?
I'm gonna smile every time Wallman comes up.
I every once in a while I just remember that they literally were paid to take him.
Oh, dude! And then on top of that, for Detroit, let me see if I can. Let's see. Here it is. From the brilliant coverage of Frank Saravelli, fascinated by Red Wings goaltending pecking order at the end of training camp. Cam Talbot, Ville Husso, Alex Lyon, Jack Campbell, Sebastian Cossa. That is $8.925 million in 4 one-way contracts requiring waivers, plus 2021 first-round pick Cossa, who is waiver exempt. It's going to be just like, however upset fans are about the goaltending situation in Minnesota, this one would be way more frustrating. And their best guy is currently number 3 in the pecking order. So it's tough.
Yeah, and Cossa the last couple of years has been really good after somewhat of a slowish start. Well, to pro hockey or whatever, but
people forget.
Yeah, they do forget. Not me. Thank you, Wallstead. Thank you. Keep the change. But we talked about this last week. Moritz Seider signed his ticket, 8.5. Was that 8? It was 8.5, right?
That sounds right.
Incredible. I mean, I sign up for that every single time. I think last week I was like, I'd go like 9 on a long-term deal. I think that's what I was saying. So that one gets done. But we did move to Detroit a little quick there because, again, that fucking Celebrini power play goal, like, that's the shot that I just don't know how he pulls it off because it wasn't even like in his wheelhouse. It was like kind of in like his hips, and he still could just rifle the puck first time. And then his assist to Toffoli on power play like a minute and a half later was so nasty. Like, he's fucking incredible. So again, the Sharks are going to be a fun team to watch because they did bring in some decent forwards. I forgot that Jeff Petrie is there. So I guess that'll be their guy to probably be the power play.
Maybe.
I don't know if he can still.
Vlasic could be the funniest.
Do it. Oh my God, I keep forgetting he's there.
Dude,
so.
That I'm a little uncomfortable with, like, how excited I am to watch this top 6 group. Like, there's fun names there. And I think the Toffoli ad was awesome. I think him and Celebrini is going to be real fun. Do we know, is Slippery Pete going to be playing with them, or is he going to be on the second line?
I don't know. I couldn't.
Because those two and Slippery Pete would be like, I'm all in on that line. That'd be so fun.
God, I hate that I have to get excited to watch San Jose Shark games now. That's actually kind of sad.
I mean, they're basically going to be what the Anaheim Ducks have been the last several years. Like, fun, frisky. They could beat anybody, but they're absolutely not going to be outside of the bottom 5. So, like, which for their path, it's probably better that they not win. Now, this year is probably the only year you can say that now that you're bringing everybody in, but one more year of a lottery pick. Next year, try and be a little bit more feisty. I don't know. You could do a lot worse. And the Ducks will probably continue to just be the exact same team they've always been. And it makes no sense to me at this point. On paper, it looks great. It just doesn't change at all.
It's weird. It's really, really, really weird. I mean, this year, in theory, at least they're not going to do the shit with Leo Carlson where they're like playing him every other game, or maybe every once in a while play him 2 out of 3 games. Like he should, in theory, for year 2 be there. As long as he's healthy, he should be in their lineup. And I mean, he put up pretty good points considering he was playing like every 4 days. So that maybe helps them a little bit because he rules. The thing with them, though, is like both the Ducks and Trevor Zegras himself need Trevor Zegras to have that actual breakout year. And I don't know how confident I am in that. Like, I don't know if it's just like especially, I think maybe it just got amplified in my brain more so just given like Verbeek taking over as GM, the coach that they hired is just not a Zegras guy, even though they do know each other. But I don't know. But either way, this like Zegras has to go off, or at least look like he can be a guy that you can rely on for like at least 60 points a year. Like desperately, because I remember it was like there was like a month and a half left in the year, and I was just like going through the scores, and I was like, I clicked on a Ducks game, and it was like he had scored his 3rd goal of the year, and I was like, wait, even like I pretty much primarily at this point watch most of the NHL games outside of Boston and Minnesota just to see what like the recently drafted guys are doing. And I was like, wait, 3? I was like, that was his 3rd goal of the year, like 65 games in.
Well, 3 Michigans. 3 Michigans.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, they should have counted. They were like, 3-pointers, but like, actually no, that's more just like a dunk. But
where's
Trevor
the most
like this is the year that I feel like he does need to.
Where's the most fun place for him to land?
The one rumor that's happened is just keep this ridiculous in Buffalo. Like, just keep the weird, fucking, very fun young player vibe going until they have no one older than like 26 years old on the roster. I don't know, because like he's such an interesting profile of player where it's like obviously he's one of the most skilled guys on the planet, and like he kind of has a little bit of fuck you in his game, but more so like the cocky fuck you. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's just like it feels like a different kind of like grit or whatever that usually players with his type of profile have to really, really have to like succeed and like feel confident they're going to be able to like produce down the end of the season into the playoffs. So he's like, it's such a tough player to like gauge, like if it's not going to be in Anaheim, because honestly that feels like he's in the right spot. It's just it might be a situation with the coach, the GM, and how they want things to go there. We look the way they've drafted the last few years since those two came in, like they're other super skilled players, but it's like Mason McTavish, that's a different animal. Beckett Seneke, that's a different kind of animal. Like, because that's where Solberg went to. Different kind of fucking animal. Is like a legit
your
high
son?
upside, but like vicious guy. Yeah, Leo, love him. So, but like in theory, like just the way they drafted, they don't even need him to be like a top guy, but you still need like a top six. Maybe not your go-to primary offensive player, but like he still needs to be able to like put up top six type numbers, even if he's not driving a line. And now, like given how they've drafted, they don't need him to be a center anymore. Like when he first got there, he was like they had just started targeting centers, like high-end centers, anyways. So they were banking on him being a top six center for them, probably pretty hard. And then over the last few years, that's changed, but. I don't know. It feels like honestly he should be in the right spot given the roster. It's just whether or not he can get the buy-in with like what the GM, what the coaches want, but we'll see. But either way, all that to say, this is this is a massive year for him.
That was just so funny. Before you corrected yourself, all that was running through my mind was like him getting the coach to buy into the way he's going to play.
Yeah, totally. He just needs to get in that office and be like, listen, I'm not going to say it again. Michigan's only. Or lacrosse, so I don't get yelled at. However you want to say it, whatever type of goal you think it is.
Does he have to go to Detroit?
That was the other team that popped into my head, but I was like, God, I can't. Like, we're at the point now where saying Detroit isn't the fun destination anymore because, like, we've said this. Eyes are playing. I'm borderline out on. I really like a lot of their young prospects that'll be coming through soon, but I don't know. At this point, they're not going to get my stamp of approval as far as like, where's the most fun place like this prospect could land, or like this young player that's definitely on the outs. Like, it's just not Detroit anymore. They're done. They've had their quota. It's filled. Done. Move on. It's always next year.
And what if that's the eyes plan? I didn't think it was going to be fun. It's more just because of the Michigan geography.
Yeah, fair enough. That's a good point.
I'm sure they'd find a stupid way to make that a whole thing.
How about the people that they don't get mad about, or they get mad at you calling it the Michigan, not because they want you to call it the lacrosse bowl. It should be the Mike Legg. I'm like, I will never say the words. Look, he scored the Mike Legg goal. I'm not going to say that ever. Like,
I mean, Legg works.
Again, if it played around with that,
shit out of people. That would confuse people. It'd be fun. With the leg goal, what he just put it up a corner with his stick. His legs weren't involved, and the goalie's legs could never be a factor. Can you?
I changed my mind.
Hang on. Imagine Marc-Andre Fleury somehow pulling off the windmill and catching the puck in the top corner. That I would put him into the Hall of Fame on the spot.
Oh yeah, no.
I would rock so hard.
And then he would also become the chair of the committee. And it's like, okay, well, not only did he just get inducted, he runs the show now. He's going to tell us who's in the Hall of Fame after he did that. But yeah. No, I changed my mind. I'm all in on, we can call it like the legger, the leg, the stanky,
the boot.
Awful.
Stanky.
The worst.
Now we're gonna have to, every time someone scores a Michigan goal this year, we're gonna have to dub that music over it.
Oh my God. Hope
And
all you Mike
people
Leg stands are happy. No one will. Well, actually, no, yeah, sorry, 3.
Yeah,
You,
like
me,
3.
and we could probably find someone else to laugh at it.
Zegras will laugh.
Yeah, he'll like it.
Oh man.
Let's see. Oh, another good. Another fun preseason game. Utah. The first goal is an own goal that they scored on themselves on the power play. What? That was the first goal in their history, right? That was literally the first goal that they scored. Was. I don't care. It doesn't for me in my weird, stupid brain. I'm all in on it. But either way, at least they did overcome that. I think it was like 5-2 maybe that they beat St. Louis. But Logan Cooley looked fucking good. Dylan Genther looked incredible.
No, he's overpaid. God, you misunderstood that.
Oh, true. Sorry. You're right. Never mind. All right, change this. Scrap it. Isha, cut it. They're gonna be fun. That's another team that's gonna be fun. God, the young talent that's gonna be on that roster.
I'm telling you, man.
I
got them making it.
Logan Cooley.
I got them making it.
Yeah. I don't remember if I ended up getting all the way.
Loogie? Did you call him Loogie?
I think I did.
That's awesome. Oh my God, we're making up so many great nicknames right now.
Yeah, the 273 bots are gonna. They must be sick right now.
Yes,
I have a feeling Logan Cooley is gonna have himself a year though. I'm like kind of all in on this. I don't know what his over under is. If I can find an over under for his point total, I might hammer the over. Same thing with Genther, honestly. He is a fucking animal. God, I love those two. Well, actually, I love half that fucking hockey team. But God, they're gonna be fun to watch. And that barn looks sick. I like anytime. So it's like the Bell Center, Montreal. The seats are like on top of the ice, so it just looks crazy. It looks like Utah's the same shit. I think that place is going to be a very fun place to watch a hockey game, and I bet it's going to be nuts, respectfully, obviously, because it's Utah. Or actually, you know what? Those NBA fans are disgusting, so never mind. They might be insane. I don't know. It might be a problem. It might get problematic.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Cooley going to do what Boldy should do, but...
All right, we can go right into the pain. I don't know why I was just even a little bit surprised, but did they say what the actual injury was?
Yeah, upper body.
Oh, yeah, text. Yeah, no, that narrows it down. What an idiot I am. I think they said he should be ready. He's going to miss most of if not all the preseason. I have a funny feeling that means he's probably going to miss like the first 2 or 3 games. And it was like, what's been the commentary on, hey, like this team should be better than they were last year, especially given all the injury problems they had last year. If they could just stay healthy, and it's like, and Matt Boldy's out. I'm like, okay, fuck. God damn it. It's unbelievable. It's already begun.
You know what's going to piss everyone off, though? They're for sure going to put Ogren and JoJo together now.
Yeah, so that's where I was going. Next is well, again, I guess they did say they're expecting him to be back before the season starts. At this point, given the last few years, I'm going to take that with an entire beach worth of grains of salt, or save, golf, whatever. Don't care. God, it's so fucking annoying. I don't. How is it possible? It's right in preseason every fucking time. What was it 2 games into the year last year? Boldy got hurt. Something like that. Spurgeon got hurt in the preseason, then eventually came back and got hurt like a minute later. And guys like Toledo were hurt all year, but hopefully Hines wasn't just trying to calm everyone down and say that he's supposed to be back for the start of the season. I feel like that quote mentioned like, yeah, if as long as he gets a good break here. I'm like, do you mean, hold on a second, like he needs to catch a break or like having a break before? And then I was like, and I am full Minnesota right now. I have fully gone into the worst case scenario thought. That's the first thought that pops into my head. God damn it. I was able to make it this long before going there, but I am all the way there now, where I will analyze every word of every sentence that comes out of anyone that works that team's mouth. But if he, let's say he does miss more time than they're hoping or thinking, is it going to be like, do you throw Ogren up there? Because again, like just looking at, I think it was Russo put up the projected roster that made sense to him, or I don't know. Was it him or Joe? I don't remember, but I want to say they had Ogren and Lauko looking at the 4th line left wing spot, which to me, that would make more sense for a guy like Lauko.
Yep, I strongly agree. I do not want Ogren playing 4th line unless it's like, oh, we're just going to play him there for a couple games and see what happens. Like if it's a long-term plan to let him play on the 4th line, I'm vetoing aggressively.
Yeah.
Let that boy cook with Bankier down in Iowa.
Yeah. But just off the top of my head, I'm trying to think, is it, if, again, assuming in that top second, if Boldy does miss a few games, will it be Ogren that gets that low? So I don't know. Or will they go with one of the guys they signed on a 2-way? Who knows? But either way, it's annoying as shit. Of course. We had like one fun preseason game, and then they were like, guess what? Nope. Fun is over already. So we're good.
Yep.
Love it.
Well, before we dive more into the Wild, we have to comment on this one. Rhett of the famed House Pitlick off to Mankato in a move that I was not ready for. I definitely didn't have high expectations that he'd be back with the Gophers, but seeing him go to Mankato, I don't know. I think it's actually going to be kind of fun.
Yeah, 100%. I'm at the point now with the sheer volume of Pitlick in college hockey over the last like decade. Every time, like I was watching like Minnesota, and I'd see like Pitlick just flying up the ice. I'm like, how he's been there since like 1997. Like how is this guy? How is Van Wilder still in like playing college hockey? This is fucking insane. Like they are. I'm assuming there's probably a 17th that I don't even know about that will transfer over, probably. But yeah, I mean, so you're thinking it's just going to be fun, or were you like sad?
Sad, but I mean,
specifically.
That's, I mean, no. If he's going to play somewhere, keep him in Minnesota. Like if he went to Wisconsin, I'd be very upset.
Oh.
Very, very upset. No, and I mean it's fun too that it's Mankato and it's in the CCHA, and he's probably just going to go torch. Like he is going to run wild in that conference. I'm just happy that he's still playing college hockey because I don't know that there was really a pro opportunity for him right now. And at least from what I'm hearing, it's a matter of him being 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Waited too long. Motzko has no time for that nonsense, and his spot's gone.
Yeah,
so
I mean, fair enough.
Which you'll love. Next week we drop the Motzko interview, Z, and he says nice things about our boy Jimmy.
I love that. That just made me feel That made me feel good. Rhett Pitlick is going to be the epitome of like in 5 or 6 years, you're going to like see his like randomly his college hockey mixtape will just like pop up on a YouTube somewhere or like Twitter highlights. And people are like, wait, what he didn't go to the fucking NHL? Like, what do you mean? It's like, he is so fucking fun to watch. He's nasty, but
when he turns it on, he is gnarly. And I was at that game. I was at the game where he threw a stick into the crowd and everyone wants to get mad and piss on him for it. No, I loved it. Even the penalty that ensued, I was so happy when he did that. I was so lit up and ready to just run through the glass. Oh my God. It happened like 10 rows in front of us. The stick just gets tossed up there and he's just like, what? And I'm like,
I feel like it was like, because I remember watching the game, and I want to say for whatever reason, I don't know, might be thinking of a different one now that I think about it, but like the camera, like it was, the stick was barely in the frame, and it was like, wait, where the fuck did it go? Like, wait a minute, you just see him go like, it was gone out of frame immediately. And it was, I was dying laughing. I love that shit. It's my favorite. I love those ridiculous sellies. The cocky sellies are, I live for those. And then, as you know, anytime someone gets their stick lifted into the fucking stratosphere is the funniest shit in the world. Specifically, if Nick Ritchie is also mic'd up watching it happen and goes, "Oh, see a stick?" It's one of the best mic'd up moments, in my opinion. It's one of the best things that's ever happened in my life, personally. But yeah, no. So Rhett Pitlick to Mankato, it kind of feels weird.
It's where his cousin played.
Very weird. Yeah, fair enough.
No, it's extremely weird that he's leaving the Gophers and going there. Fortunately, they are not lacking on skill players to fill a top 6 role. But no, I am definitely sad to see him gone. But I don't know. Now I have a reason to tune into Mankato a little bit more.
And at least it's not Wisconsin.
It's not Wisconsin, and it's not North Dakota. Those are really the only things that matter in life. This is funny, actually, Hop Ticks, because my wife has kind of had the same revelation. Like, she literally thinks it's like, goes right to licking an armpit with the name Pitlick.
She's like, why do you guys keep calling him Pitlick? Why is that his nickname? It's like, no, that's literally his real name.
Well, she knows it's his name. She's just like, Pitlick? What?
It's funnier in my head, though, if it's like people that don't watch hockey that just hear hockey guys have the dumbest nicknames in the world. I'm like, okay, you're Pitlick? How did he get that one? How did they pull that one off? It's like,
well, there's this weird hazing day.
And that program doesn't exist anymore. So get to transfer out. Jesus, let's see.
We can talk about the Wild roster cut downs. Russo posted earlier, trimming down to 50, losing Kalen Parker, Ryder Ritchie, and Chase Woodsky, all going back to junior, and then Gavin Hain, Kyle McClellan, Matthew Sopp, and Will Zmolik released from their PTOs and will report to Iowa for camp there.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, especially with the first 3. WHL season also started on Friday. So all 3 of them are headed back there. Kalen Parker, obviously coming off the WHL championship. Ryder Ritchie is going to a loaded Medicine Hat team, and Chase Woodsky is going to a pretty good Red Deer team as well. And then in that preseason game that they did play in, Ritchie had an assist there. He looked pretty good. Kalen Parker showed flashes, I thought. And then, I mean, Wallstedt played the whole game, which I was unexpected, I think. I feel like for me, usually they'll do the thing where they sub out like halfway through, but he played all 60 minutes and was ridiculous. It was 38 saves on 40 shots. including a couple that like are not the stereotypical Wallstat where he makes an absurd save that looks super easy because he's usually in the right spot every single time. He made some $10, like some ridiculous saves. So again, they are going to be going with 3 to start the year. Anyone that listens to this knows how I feel about that, but it is what it is. But he clearly looks like a guy that's very much ready to at least get some decent NHL action this season. So we'll see how the 3 goalie thing works out. But couple other standouts though because I'm at this point might as well just go right into the preseason game. It was a 5-2 win against Winnipeg. Again, big time standout was Wallstat. Clearly, probably the best player on the ice for either team, obviously. But the one that's going to be interesting here, especially with the fourth line, we just started talking about a little bit, was Lauko, my boy, 94 Loco. He rocks, and he's so much fun. And the goal that he scored was such a Lauko goal. Well, there's like I think it was a him. Maybe he didn't block that shot specifically, but he can fucking fly. And like when they made that trade, the one thing I said was like, Jacob Lauko is the exact mold of what Bill Guerin wants in like a fourth line guy, where he is fast as fuck. He is a lunatic on the forecheck, super physical, hits everything that moves, and he can play pretty good two-way hockey. And like before he got hurt, I think it was a year or 2 after he got drafted by the Bruins in the preseason, he was looked at as like a middle to potentially in the Bruins farm system, like a top 6 type of guy. Like he does have some sneaky underrated skill. He's tried the Michigan before in games more than once, which rocks. He did that a few times in Boston, but he is like exactly what I feel like they want to have on their fourth line, like guys that can move at his pace, play a decent enough two-way game, and there is some proven. There's a little bit of offensive ability in him, so I think it's just a good combination of skills and attributes for the Minnesota Wild's fourth line. Which again, if you're telling me it's between like him and Ogren to be the fourth line left wing spot, I'd much rather have it be Lauko because it's absolutely suited to his game. But he looked really good, obviously, and there was a sweet finish on the breakaway goal. And then we talked about this before too. Like Damon Hunt looked so good again. Scored a bomb on the power play. He's an NHL player. Like he is absolutely good enough to play in the NHL. He's going to be probably their 7 going into the year. And I mean, given how it's gone the last few years, like
how's he going to be their 7?
Injuries. What do you mean?
I mean, so are they sending Johnny Boy down to Iowa?
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. I hate this. See, this is driving me fucking nuts. You can't even get a 7. He can't even be the 7. I forgot Merrill existed. He played in the fucking game. I forgot he existed, and he played in that fucking game. Oh my god. I mean, I'm surprised they didn't find a way. I mean, I guess I don't know if it's how much it has to do with just like the locker room type of guy that Merrill is, but I'm surprised they didn't try, or maybe they did try, like find a way to get rid of that contract. Because even though it's not a large amount of money, it's just some money. And like we got to the point last year where like he couldn't play. It was like the fall off, because his first year or 2 with Minnesota, he was like a more than serviceable guy. He was his first year especially, he was good. But last year, the combination of like, I don't know if it was just the injuries and then just, I don't know what happened, but he was legitimately, it got to the point where he's borderline, he was unplayable. Didn't help that he had to play a lot with Kolkoski, who also like ended up in the same boat. God, Damon Hunt can't even be the 7. That's fucking crazy. But I think he was really good when he played in Iowa last year. When Hunt played in the NHL with Minnesota, he looked like he at least like belonged and fit in. He's good enough to play in the NHL this season. He probably should be. So it'll be interesting to see again, like as we get close or as games go on here, if there are moves to be made here, he's definitely be one to watch. Because if you're David Hunt, you must be like sitting here looking at it like, that's another fucking year. Because I think he's good enough to play, and it drives me crazy.
More than a year that he has to wait.
Oh yeah, gosh.
Bogosian's got a couple of years. Like, I really hope that things go well enough that Chisholm gets extended. Like, it doesn't look great for him.
Yeah.
And plus, don't forget, everyone already has basically decided that Zeev Buium will be with the Wild come this spring and never go back because he is Brock Faber.
Right. So that's exactly how it always works. Yeah. So, I mean, again, this is the conversation we had about David Hunt. We've had this conversation about like Carson Lambos. Like, is like is this year 3 of this podcast now? Holy shit. But one of the things we always, yeah, exactly. The one thing that's really great about having like a super deep prospect pool is obviously you can just like give these kids time to play junior hockey, college hockey, whatever. You don't really feel the need to rush anyone in. Now you get to the point where guys are looking like you have a fairly good idea either of what they're going to look like or where they fit in with like where your contracts are, the NHL players that are already going to be here. And with some of these guys, you're looking at like a David Hunt who's like probably should be playing in the NHL right now, at least next year, like, or by most a year. I don't know. At least most, however you want to say it. Then you wonder where a guy like we said this before, like Lambos, where he fits in the future. But I feel like now we've got a few guys where it's like kind of around the time where we have a pretty good idea whether they stay or go. And David Hunt is probably the top of that list, just given it's not a question of like ability because he's good enough to play. It's just like when. It drives me crazy. This is the shit with these contracts. It drives me fucking nuts. But yeah, no, he looked real good though. That was how that started. What else looked good though was Chisholm. Again, loved that waiver wire pickup last year. He looked good. And then one of the standouts out front, again, he's just continued this crazy trajectory in his development. Caden Bank here again scored on the power play. Again, we talked about this last week, 2 weeks ago. I don't know, whenever we did. One of those weeks that we talked about him. He looks like a guy that could really potentially even elevate himself further in the lineup down as his career progresses. But he once again showed like exactly why they drafted him. So
yeah,
and then 5-2 win. Love that.
If there are guys that underwhelm again this year, or there's a decent amount of injuries, like Caden Bank here could absolutely be the dark horse to like steal a roster spot and never look back.
Yeah. I mean, and we talked about this too. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if he got a couple games this year, depending how injuries go, how like exactly how many cents. Yeah, I mean, I would be shocked if he made it out of camp.
No, right. I'm saying back half of the year, he could be like a mainstay on the roster because he gets a 5-game look and they're like, we can't send this guy back down.
Right. Yeah. It's going to be interesting. You know who I like too, actually, I thought looked pretty good was Graham Clark. 1-for-1 for Beckman. He looked good too. He scored. And then I think someone was mentioning in here earlier, the Travis Boyd thing is crazy. Like, he was on that Coyotes dog shit team a couple years ago and still put up like half a goal or half a point per game. He's been he's been solid in the AHL. It kind of makes me want him to like go help Iowa. Like that's kind of I'm like, for the love of God, let him go score 30 in fucking Iowa, please. I think he also went 90% of the faceoff dot against Winnipeg, which means he's the greatest center that's ever laced them up for the Minnesota Wild. That cuts
not wrong.
But and then I keep forgetting that they also got Devin Shore on a 2-way contract. again, all things being equal, the most likely scenarios, those are guys that are really going to be helpful to have in Iowa with the young players.
Yeah.
Especially with Travis Boyd, he's got so many games too. So
that's an inevitability, though, at this point, just with the contracts they have. Like, it's not a comment on either of those players. It's just the reality of, like, maybe Ogren's going to be able to take a spot. Maybe. That's it. Like, there's really not much room for much else. Or Height outplays him and takes Ogren's spot. But, like, there's really no more wiggle room for this team. Hence Damon Hunt being the 8th defenseman.
Despite possibly being the 6th best,
That's not important.
Fuck. God damn it. But all that to say, we loved it. The game was great. It was great. But again, Wallstedt, though, God, he looks good. He's so fucking good at hockey. I love him. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's all I got on that one.
Oh, some idiot didn't put him number 1 in the prospect pool rankings. So,
some idiot. Let's see. Oh, actually, last comment on that game, they went 2 for 3 of the power play and 5 for 5 of the PK. So that was. It was just remember that because it will never happen again. That's the only
funny
time
too. Russo, being the guy he is, already has like a full article up on the ramifications of a Boldy injury, and the number 1 concern is the penalty kill.
Yep.
Not good.
Just deep breaths.
Paper bag.
Yeah, I can't even go in that. Yeah. On that one. Where are we going next? You'll never believe this. My screen just froze.
I'm pretty sure the only thing you had left that you wanted to cover was Euro prospects. Namely,
there we go.
Mr. Yurov.
Guess who's back? That Danil Yurov, back from injury, played today for Metalurg in their 5-2 win against Matvey Guskov's Ufa. Played second line center. Didn't put up any points, but I took a longer than I should have break from work, threw that game on, saw the third period. I think he went 8 for 9 at the faceoff dot, so sign him up. Full-time center, absolutely, no doubt that's going to be a thing, possibly a number 1 center. No, but he looked really good, obviously. I think he played around 15 and a half minutes. Again, it was with the faceoff dot. Made a couple defensive plays as well. He finished +1, a couple shots on net. But good to see him back on the ice for his first game. Would expect another big year from him and hopefully come right over. And then we go back over to Finland. Let me pull up my sheet again. And you'll never believe it, Rasmus Kumpalainen continues to go on a tear. Leads the Pelicans in points. He's got 3 goals and 3 assists now in his 5 games.
Dude, a Kumpalainen Pelicans jersey. I need it.
Oh, they're sick too. The jerseys are sick.
Mm-hmm.
But he has already solidified himself. The last at least all 3 games this week, he was playing first line center. So it was insane. But let's see. Yeah, first game this week, 2 assists with 15.5 minutes time on ice. Then he played 21 minutes, and then their last game on Saturday, he scored another goal. He's just like rifling shot attempts. Fun fact about the Finnish Liga website is you legitimately cannot figure out exactly how many shots on goal versus shot attempts they fucking have. Like, there's 15 different versions of their stat sheets, and I was furious today trying to write down the correct numbers. And then I was like, fuck it, I'm going to Sport Contract, the thing we have for our scouting service. Those numbers are off. I was losing my mind for 25 minutes. I just want to know how many fucking shots on goal he had in each game. I have no idea. Anyways, 4 games so far this year, 6 points, 3-3. I think he's got like 8 block shots as well. But I mean, he legitimately stepped into the Finnish league, the first for Finnish pro hockey his first year playing for his hometown team and is leading them in points. He looks like he fits in. I just love that he's playing pro hockey, even though, I think obviously, like we said before, Oshawa was pretty upset that he didn't come back. But I mean, not only does he fit in, he looks like one of their go-to guys, especially given the fact that he fucking leads that team in points. Love that. Kivi Haru, no points through 5 games so far this year, rotating between being like their 4 and 5. Again, much of the same that we talked about with him before. Plenty of really good plays. Sometimes, just being a 5'9" defenseman in Finnish Liga, it's tough to do. So he gets out muscled here and there. But again, plenty of like really just solid defensive plays in transition, killing them before they start. And on the breakout, looks really good. Every once in a while, he'll get some power play time, and he clearly can run a power play. Super mobile as far as like agility wise, even if it doesn't have the foot speed. But he's been fun to watch. Poor Sebastian Sawicki is getting caved in. They played Champions League hockey, and they got the shit kicked out of them every fucking game. So he's only played in 1 game in Liga this year. I think it was on Friday. Yeah, it's Friday. 10.5 minutes, had 1 shot attempt. But again, with him, it's just the profile player I really like. There could be some potential upside. I would not be upset whatsoever if they let him go play U20 instead of like just getting caved in playing pro hockey in Finland. So I still think he played pro hockey too early last year, but we'll keep on tracking him and hopefully have some good updates. But that's the Euro prospect update anyways. And now we'll have WHL back since we have a few guys that get sent back.
There you go. And, do you get this reference, Z, from Mateo? I love trying to find Kivi Haru stats and needing to look for the name Stone Ridge because of auto translation. Have you run into this?
Is that I have not had to do that.
We'll believe you.
I love that. If that's like the actual I love that. That's the translation.
We've talked about this one before, but Urban comments, healthy and disciplined third line of Trennan, Hartman, Foligno. Thoughts? Pure mayhem, and I love it.
Yeah, I mean, we said this before too. Like, ideally, that could be an incredibly effective, super physical third line that has some offensive pop too. I am not as upset as I think many are about the flipping Hartman with Rossi there. Like, I still think that could be, I think that should be still a pretty good line. But yeah, I mean, Trennan, Hartman, Foligno, as long as Hartman's on his best behavior, his best worst behavior. Like, you know what I like? Not
I don't want
like
his best behavior.
as long as the shit he's getting in trouble for is like flipping other teams off, like fighting people, that's fine. But some of his penalties are so funny. As long as he's not pulling that off, it would be great.
Punch the ice and put himself out for weeks.
Yeah, that's fucking unbelievable. He's such a beauty. No, but
people are like way too down on him, way too down. And
yeah,
I don't know. I said this with Joe last week. Z, curious what you think. You almost have to start with Hartman there to begin camp, because if you start Rossi there and flip him down for Hartman, it's a story. If Rossi finds a way to surpass Hartman, it's like, okay, cool. Everyone's happy. This is the way of the world.
Yeah. And I mean, I also just think you have a better chance of getting more than like 3 or 4 guys having a good offensive year if you spread it out a little bit more. And we've seen Hartman, as long as he's healthy, like we saw the 1 year, which kind of drives that, even though I just said it, still kind of drives me nuts. It's like we know he can do. He's a 30-goal guy. He's like, well, he was. But I still think like what he scored last year, like 20
former first rounder, Z.
Former 30-goal guy. But yeah, I am absolutely okay. Actually, I think it's probably the right move to have Hartman on that first line to start to start the season, and then Rossi on the third line. Because like we said last week, like Rossi put up 21, like rotating pretty much between all 3 lines in like their top 9. Like he was literally pretty much everywhere he went. He was still finding a way to either like find himself in scoring positions, like just in front of the net, despite the fact that he is an undersized guy, especially as a center. Like he's still in all of the mayhem, and he was scoring goals on all 3 lines. So, yeah, no, I still think it's the right move to start with Hartman on the first line, Rossi in the third, and we'll just see how much the roster gets shaken up with the Boldy thing if he misses any actual games, I guess. But
what if they put Freddie up on that wing?
Oh my God.
Freddie and JoJo with Eck. I think fans would break things.
Oh, yeah. Even if it worked, like, they would be like, oh, imagine if anyone else would have 50. Anyone else would have 50.
No, exactly.
Okay.
If Freddie can do it, you know that Height should be there instead. Yeah.
Yeah, no matter what. It's like, yeah, imagine if someone that could play hockey was on that line. It's unbelievable. God. That did give me some anxiety, though, when you said that.
Well, yeah, but they would do it. They would do it. Cosgrove, would be funny if Kumpalainen were the best of the 3. Height, Strammel, Kumpalainen. Just a surprise Judd bracket special.
That would be funny. Oh, God.
It's not out of like question. I still think Height's the best of the group, but like if you told me Kumpalainen ends up being the guy, I'm not shocked.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, I think of those 3 guys, honestly, like, Kumpalainen probably has a better chance. Like, let's say
he
doesn't hit his Yeah, well, like, yeah, like, even if he doesn't hit his absolute ceiling, like, if he gives you his B game in the NHL, he's an incredibly effective, like, possibly has a better chance of all 3, to be honest, with, like, being a very effective NHL player anyways. At this point, like, just given how the last 2 years have gone for all, like, with him versus, like, Strammel, who has, like, a similar kind of profile, probably less offensive pop, but still some. But, yeah. And I think that was all of it. I think that was everything we had.
I think that'll do it.
Still stretched it over an hour. And now I can say it. Now we can say it since it's been like we got through. The internet held up for the most part. It didn't. We didn't mention it.
Pretty. It won't happen again.
No. It's much like their special teams versus Winnipeg in the preseason game. This solid internet episode will never happen again.
Damn.
Yeah. Just bringing everyone back down a little bit. Just keeping everyone honest here. I said this with Rossi before, though, now that I think about it. Like, I think it's fair to assume, like, he takes another step forward so that you're put at maybe like a 25 goal pace this year. Eriksson Ek went, like, all the way off, put up 30 last year. Is he going to, like, flirt with 40? Could he, like, honestly, I keep not knowing how he, like, finds. Puts up 20.
No, Ek leads the team in goals.
Oh, God, yeah. Say it again.
Ek leads the team in goals.
Oh, my God. He is fascinating. Like, he's not quite on, like, the Hyman level of, like, 1 million goals, a grand cumulative 11 feet from the net, in terms of, like, how far away he scores from. But, like,
same vibe.
It's the same vibe, but every once in a while, like, I think it was the playoff series against St. Louis. Yeah, when he scored that fucking ridiculous, like, he walked half of the Blues and scored a power play goal like 30 seconds into, I think it was a second or third period. Every once in a while, he'll do some shit like that. You're like, who the fuck is this guy? He's the best player that's ever lived. He's the greatest player of all time. It's unbelievable. I don't know how he fucking does it, but he rules. I love that guy. And he's a Selkie guy.
I mean, not yet.
Right, yeah, not allowed yet. And then the other one you have to wonder about is like Zuccarello. What is this year going to look like? Because we saw, I think he was actually one of the only consistently good offensive guys the first like 20 games of the year. And then he, much like everyone else, fell off, got hurt. I don't think ever got fully healthy again. But like, how old is he now?
36. Now I'm gonna look it up.
I mean, him playing with Kirill keeps him at his age pretty much. So who knows? I
think him playing with Kirill keeps Kirill at his age.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
And they are giddy. They are like little like elementary school kids on a playground pulling each other's hair. Like it's wild.
It's the commercial of those two throwing the fucking coffee mug back and forth. That's them literally. So it's such a good one, dude.
He just turned 37.
Okay, gotcha. I'm always surprised that whatever we talk about, or like whatever the commentary around, like this guy has to whatever have a better year, blah blah. Like the whole like, hey, do we know that? Does everyone know Zuccarello is almost fucking 40 fucking years old? Like, I feel like it never comes up, and now it has. But I just probably ruined the season.
Okay, it's just like Hank Lundqvist. Like, if you're that good looking of a dude, no one questions your age. That's just not how it works. Tell me I'm wrong. Yeah.
I just love that his hockey stick is 2 feet taller than he is. It's my favorite shit in the world. Zuccarello stick. I saw, and again, the fact that he signed the contract after fucking Fenton told him that he reminds him of a lizard is still the crazy. I feel like that, like we talk about the lizard thing, but we don't. Did
Fenton say that to him directly though?
I don't know. Fenton said he said that to the media, but he said, okay, oh my God. The quote was like, I told him that he's like a lizard. So, like, was that the selling point? Like, was that the pitch, dude? Which, at that point, I actually kind of have more questions about Zuccarello. You're kind of a sick puppy if that, like, got you a sign for 6 years.
Straight up dodgeball, the get in there nice and deep like, boy.
Oh, my God.
It's got all those vibes. But it is hilarious to this day, and I will forever call him the Lizard King.
You have no choice. Like, your hands are tied. You have to. All of our hands are tied. Yeah, I don't know. That's all I got. I know nothing about anything. And yet here we are, year 3 of the podcast.
Her boyfriend.
Oh.
You're trying so hard not to sing.
I don't need to. I don't want to.
This shouldn't even make me laugh, but it is. King Gizzard, the lizard wizard.
I was about to say it. I love that, and then I was like, no, I think I hate it. Actually, I don't know though. Get a pretzel, man.
I'm mind bottled. What? Yeah, you know, your mind's all trapped up like in a bottle.
That's not the saying. Yeah, it is.
We danced one song only. Lady Holmes by the Black Eyed Peas.
It's provocative. It's the people going. Have
you seen that interview where they asked Kanye like about that song?
Mm-mm.
It's something to the effect of like he's like flustered that they don't understand it. He's like, why did I call it that? Because blank was in Paris. I think that was just his answer to the whole thing. Because they were in Paris.
That fucking guy.
I am not a gay fish. One of the greatest celebrity cameos that we'll ever see on South Park. It's so good. I know Cosgrove agrees.
Even I knew that poll from South Park. No, you watched that? I knew that one though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else to make up this to just keep the stream going.
All right.
This we missed a question. I don't think we did though.
Well, say goodbye to everyone.
Bye. That's all I got. We'll see you next week.